You're listening to the Greeks Gridiron. Now here's your host, Ethan Hristodoulou.
Good afternoon, everybody, and a happy Sunday to you all. I am Ethan Hristodoulou, and we have made it. It is the first NFL Sunday of the regular season. As I'm recording this, there is literally 46 minutes until kickoff, so we are cutting it close here, but I wanted to make sure I got this done, recorded, and going out to you all. I'm excited. I'm sure you are excited. We're previewing today Monday Night Football, Vikings versus Bears. Up on the screen here, if you look above me, you can see all the predictions I made for who I think was going to win each and every single game. So make sure you take note of that. Again, I'm recording this before kickoff, so whenever you see this, I have no idea what the results of these games are yet to this point here. But we are previewing Vikings and Bears, so comment down below. Let me hear from you all. Who comes out victorious in this Monday Night Football matchup? We got two NFC North teams, bitter rivalry as always, but let's dive right in. We'll take a look at the Bears first here. Ben Johnson, of course, tasked with taking Caleb Williams' potential and turning it into reality and on-field results. Coming in from Detroit, knowing what the Lions have done offensively, where their running game set up so much for the play action and just their passing game as a whole, something tells me there could be a solid dose of running the football, not even just in this game, but for the Bears season going forward. And I think it's easy to point to a big restructuring of the offensive line as being a part of that and something that's kind of tipping their hand here. You look out and see who they went and got, and it was unbelievable because you went basically from left guard to it feels like the entire Bears O-line got retooled, but interior of the offensive line, you look at an all-pro in Joe Thuney. You look at Drew Dahlman, an established longtime center in the NFL coming in from Atlanta. Jonah Jackson to bolster the offensive line. This could be just what Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears offense needed. Pass protection, guys that can run block, open up those running lanes for the running backs, and make Caleb Williams' life easier. Minnesota was one of the best run defenses in the NFL last season. This is going to be a great test for Chicago here in week number 1, but I do think, based off what Ben Johnson seems to have built his offenses around, at least during his time in Detroit, I think regardless of what they feel they are going up against, I'm sure we're probably going to see Caleb Williams get the opportunity to throw the ball, but it starts with that running game with Ben Johnson's offense, and I definitely would not be surprised with DeAndre Swift and depending on how Roschon Johnson is doing. And then, of course, you have a newcomer from this year's draft, Kyle, I believe it is Mundagai. I don't know. It's a very interesting spelling there, but it does not pronounce the way it's spelled. So I hope I'm getting that right. I'm trying my best here. Good, solid stable of running backs. Again, Roschon Johnson's status, though, up in the air with a foot injury that he's dealing with. But I do expect to see DeAndre Swift get a real opportunity to be that lead back and to dominate on the ground with a completely retooled offensive line. On the defensive side, couple of notables. Linebacker TJ Edward, hamstring issue. He's doubtful for this game here, which sucks because he's a big piece of the middle of that defense there. And then star cornerback Jalen Johnson, calf and groin stuff going on, limited all week. Not great that it's two different things that are hampering him and that are being noted on the injury report. Obviously, two leaders of the defense, not ideal going into week number 1, but you still have a strong defense regardless. I mean, led by guys like a Montez Sweat going in and getting a Dio Odangbo from Indianapolis, who I think is going to be a nice pairing alongside him. Then you got like Tremaine Edwards, Jaquan Brisker, Kevin Byard. Like, there's a ton of really good players on the Chicago defense, and Minnesota's got an electric group of skill players, so definitely worth keeping an eye on with two of those guys potentially not being in the mix or like limited at the very best. It's definitely something worth keeping in mind as you go through the game. On the flip side with Minnesota, Kevin O'Connell, of course, getting tasked now with his third quarterback in 3 seasons to make offensive money. And I mean, listen, he was great when Kirk Cousins was around. He made Kirk Cousins look like $1 million during their time together. Sam Darnold came in last season, made Sam Darnold look like $1 million for all but 2 games of last season. And now it's JJ McCarthy's time. He was your first-round selection last year. A lot of everything riding on him because you think about everyone who's tied themselves to him now. You look at the front office. You look at Kevin O'Connell. They went out. They identified him, somebody who was very efficient during his time in college. Yeah, maybe not as much volume throwing the football as some others coming from Michigan, but a lot of people praising him for just how good he is with his decision-making and just where he goes with the ball. So no shortage of talent around him, obviously. Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, running back Aaron Jones, who I love that they were able to retain. I think he's going to be a phenomenal security blanket for what is essentially going to be JJ McCarthy's rookie season, because he missed all of it last year and just got to watch from the sidelines. But then, of course, the interior of the O-line. Very similar conversation that you can have with Minnesota that I just had with Chicago. Ryan Kelly and Will Fries joining from Indianapolis. You also go out in the first round and draft rookie Donovan Jackson. So a lot of retooling on the interior there. Both sides' offensive lines are key to this game here because it's new faces, an entire new unit, and basically, how do they gel? That is the big question mark here. On the defensive side, Brian Flores, what is there that you can't say about the aggressive style of this defense? It is one of the most entertaining units in the NFL, and the results are there based off what we saw from them last season. Nobody in the NFL, it felt like, even came close to the amount of blitzing that we saw out of Minnesota, as they were the only team in the NFL to cross that 40% threshold, which is, that's crazy to think about, how often you're sending extra guys to just give quarterbacks an absolute handful of problems to deal with each and every single snap. Some of that obviously was because the secondary was not necessarily where it needed to be, and we have seen some restructuring this offseason, from that defense, and especially in that secondary. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. They allowed the 5th most passing yards last season, and that is definitely something worth noting here as Chicago comes in trying to see if they can unleash Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson's offense. But when you look at how they just I guess bolstered is the right word here, but just completely adding in some meat to that defensive front, adding a Javon Hargrave, adding a Jonathan Allen, who I think are going to complement guys like Jonathan Grenard and Andrew Van Ginkel, who were just absolute monsters as a pairing last year. Andrew Van Ginkel, just completely shocking the entire league with how productive he was last season, and the defense as a whole already finishing 5th in sacks last year. There's a good chance they finish even higher than that this year with just the way things are setting up front. So yeah, a little bit of question marks in the defensive back side of things, but when you look at that defensive front as a whole, from the D-line to the linebacking room, you got to feel pretty good about what Minnesota's putting together there. Now, as for who I think is going to win this one, I have gone back and forth a lot because you're riding on a lot of potential off of basically both sides here. You can go with Kevin O'Connell's established system and a new quarterback, or you can go with Chicago's finally getting a good offensive system with a quarterback they've already had for a season now. It's like you pick your poison kind of thing with what you do and don't like about both sides. And like I mentioned, both teams completely retooling the offensive line, especially the interior side of things. And neither defense is perfect by any means in certain places, depending on where you look. So this is really just like, what is your gut feeling on this one? And I love that that's a part of week number 1. It's always like that. I said that as we started picks or predictions. What was it, on Wednesday? We made the first selection for the Thursday night football game. It's my favorite time of the year because you don't truly know what you're going to get, and there's so much mystery surrounding it. But ultimately, I settled on Minnesota taking the game here. If there's one thing I feel really good about right now, it's Kevin O'Connell. Yes, it is the 3rd quarterback in his system in 3 years, but he has had proven success with that first of the 3, with the second of the 3, and something tells me that there was a good reason why they went out and got JJ McCarthy in last year's draft, and something tells me we might be seeing Kevin O'Connell go 3 for 3 on QBs and making them look very good inside of his offensive system. Kevin O'Connell just, he does it differently. The way he is able to get in a QB's ear and just absolutely maximize their talent and ability is second to basically none in the NFL right now, and it's very impressive stuff overall. So give me the Minnesota Vikings here. I think we do see some good offense in this game. A lot of games, in my eyes, I feel like you're going to see something where both sides are scoring somewhere within like the range of the 20s, and we've already kind of gotten that these first 2 games of the season, and that's kind of what I'm feeling for this Monday Night Football matchup here. I like Minnesota. I like the Bears to hang on, but I think I'm going to take the Vikings something along the lines of like a 24-21 contest. It should be a little bit closer. I think we're going to get points, but it's not going to be anything too crazy because you do have some good defenses backing up those offenses there. So it'll be one of those chess matches where it's coming down to the finish line. NFC North clash should be a good one in my opinion. But that's my pick for the Monday Night Football. Again, all my predictions up atop above me. If you want to see what I was thinking as we went into this week, if you missed my predictions from this past week, make sure you subscribe, check them out, go see what I thought. Week 1's always a big mystery. It's always a lot of fun. So let me hear from you all. Comment down below. As always, if you made it to the end, I greatly appreciate it. I will see you all on Tuesday for some power rankings as we go through the tier list, putting all 32 teams from worst to first.